All right, what was your? You said there's 2 parts to it then. All right, what? Tell me what you remember.
Okay. So, do you want me?
From the beginning, just make it in chronological order.
Okay, because like I had 2 separate dreams, but they were like basically, how you say it, in different times, and like it was kind of messed up. Like I had my second dream, like part 2 first, and then I had part 1 second.
Wow.
So it was kind of weird.
It is weird.
And then like I had.
But you made that. You got that.
I understood
You
it because it actually made
afterwards.
sense. Like once I got part 1, it made a bunch of sense.
Okay,
Like,
go ahead from part 1 then.
Okay, so but I had part 1 like maybe a month later, so it was weird. So.
Let me check with my notes because I'm gonna forget this.
Okay, so like technically in the beginning, you and Mom went somewhere, but you guys were in the truck, and I went outside, and I was just like, I had a babysitter. It was weird. I had a babysitter, and I'm outside. I'm waiting for you guys, and then I look at the sky, and I saw a big cloud, but this also goes to part 2. But okay, so I saw a big cloud, which looked like a tornado cloud, hovering over our house, and I'm like yelling out your name, like I'm like Dad, Dad, and like, cause I thought I saw your truck, but when it was parking, I'm like Dad. I look and it wasn't you. It was like a guy and like some other lady, but it wasn't you guys. And then like I'm faced the other way, like I'm looking this way actually. I'm looking over here, and the cloud is like right here, like over our house. And I'm looking this way. I'm like, oh, that's not him. And then you're like, hey Winnie, like you were behind me. And I'm like, how did you get there? And the truck was already there and everything. Like, and you guys weren't even there. Like the truck was gone because you guys went somewhere. You and Mom went somewhere. And I'm like, huh? how did you get there? And then I'm like, look at the sky. That was in my dream, which was like in my other part. But like that's the cloud. That was the tornado cloud that struck by us in slow-mo. And then you're like, okay, go inside, pack your stuff, and like if the rapture doesn't happen, whatever, if we have to run, you'll be ready. And I'm like, okay, so I run inside, and I see the same thing from my other dream, like the little hangers with the backpack, neon green, neon yellowish, and pink neon backpack. And then my dream ended right there. That was part 1. Then part 2 was in, and then in part 2, it starts off from where part 1 ended. It was weird because like I was running inside, and it was weird. So like from where part 1 ended, part 2, like that's how it began, and I'm running inside, and like that's where the stuff was, and then I'm in there, and I'm like I started getting
the luggage.
It like the backpacks, yeah, the neon backpacks. Everything was set up from part 1. It was like exactly the same. So then I start running into my bedroom, and I'm packing everything. I'm like packing clothes, winter clothes, like summer clothes, like boots, whatever I needed to like stay alive. And I packed not as much because like it would be heavy, I guess. So like I packed what I needed most, like a big jacket and like big sweatpants and all this stuff, and then like something that you don't need like that, like for summer and that stuff, I guess. So you don't be sweating. I don't even know. I was just packing whatever I was able to. A bunch of socks, a bunch of underwear, all that stuff, I was packing everything. And then I get my luggage out and I put it like by the backpacks. And then I go into the other room, the game room, and but the desk wasn't there. It was weird. The desk wasn't there. And we have like a mini radio, I guess. It was, I don't know, it was like a vintage radio.
Like a CB?
No, it was like an actual radio, like where you listen to music and that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, like those little, but it was like really old type, like back in the day type radios.
Cool.
It was weird, but yeah. And then we were listening to the Weather Channel on that. It was weird. When we had our phones, but we were listening to that. We already had everything packed and all that stuff. And then that's when we see the cloud, tornado thing come straight, like, passed by the window, and it was going down, but it went in, like, slow-mo, kind of, and then, like, went down, and then boom, it hit the ground, but we didn't feel the vibration or, like, the impact of it. But the houses were messed up. Around us, the houses were messed up, but our house was, like, normal. It was weird. Like, it hit the, what's it called? Not sidewalk. Street. How did I think of that? The street. It hit the street, and houses got messed up because of the houses, but besides this one. This one didn't get hit either. And I'm not sure about this one because I don't know. But I know that this house in front and this house on the side. I think it might have been this house on the side that got messed up. I'm not sure because I can't, my brain. But I know it messed up a house or two. And it was like outside. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just saw that in slow-mo. Did you guys see that? Slow-mo, you guys know that we just, because you guys were looking somewhere else and you guys were looking at the radio and listening to it, and then like there's a tornado in Texas and that stuff, and McKinney. It was like saying everything, and like, you know, original Weather Channel would say, but like more like a microphone type sound, I guess. And it was just, we're in there, and then you're like, okay, get everything right now, put it in the truck. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because we're probably gonna have to leave, who knows. And then the sky is like, it's kind of gets a little dark, and it's in the middle of the day. It's like not so dark, but like it gets like a storm. But you're like, this is not okay, it's not really normal. So you're like, get everything in the truck now. And then I'm like, okay. And I'm like, did you get the medicine? They're like, did you get that bag? Did you get this bag? I'm like, did you get all these bags? And then the food bags and that stuff. And then you're like, yeah. And then there was like one last bag that we needed. And we're like, you say, put it in with like where you're at. Like, cause we were in the truck and I'm like in the back, and you're like, put these two bags. There was two bags. One had like a bunch of cans. And then I think the other one was closed. And you're like, put these in like back with you. So like, but put them under, so like if anyone like tries stealing or like looks through the windows or whatever, they don't really see that stuff. And you have, like, I sat over it, so it didn't seem so suspicious, I
Wow.
guess. And then I'm like, okay. And then so we start leaving. We see a whole UFO like pass by, and then like it's in the air. Like there's like a bunch come out, and then we're like,
A bunch of what come out?
like
A bunch of UFOs?
yeah, UFOs, those alien ships, and they like all start coming out, and the sky is green like a tornado, but like a Nebraska type, and like it just like it turns into like a different scene, but like the different scene was that we were on the road, like in the middle of nowhere, and we were passing like by woods and that stuff, and it was raining, pouring down rain. And I just remember looking straight and then just like driving, but then that's where it ended. That's when my alarm woke me up.
Wow. That's crazy. The UFOs is crazy. What did they look like?
It was like
Was this the one where they had colors and everything? People were going up, or is that a different one?
I have like 3 or 4 different ones with UFOs. But